Welcome everybody to the Intel Extreme Masters live here in Katowice. It is the PUBG Invitational, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me once again is Scoom from Team Liquid. Kieran, we're going to have some epic games today. We had some pretty big belters yesterday. We had some wonky plane paths as well, but it's really set up for a very impressive day with Optic in #1, which I don't think anyone would have predicted.
No, and they won game 1, and they ended the day with winning game 4. So impressive performance by Optic, and doing it in a way that they rotated. They never got the circle. Like game 1, it was southeast, they looted North George, and game 4, another like east circle where they looted North George. So just proving that, you know, having the circle doesn't mean anything if you have good rotations and good macro play, and Optic were just on point yesterday.
And it took some really wide runs as well, if you think of that game 1. Vitality, though, they are a team that pretty much everyone predicted to be here, there or thereabouts. Yourself had them down, Martin had them down. I think everyone in the world had them down, obviously them alongside FaZe. But Vitality did deliver. They got themselves a chicken dinner in game #3. I've talked to them today. Obviously, they had a really bad start to yesterday with 14th place. But they're still feeling very confident. You know, they're saying, you know, consistency, but they feel they're going to have to win a game today. Yeah,
and that's Vitality. Vitality is kind of like a momentum-based team. And in Oakland, the last tournament they had, I think they were like top 6 going into the second day or something like that. They were not in the top, but then they just rolled over the competition. So I feel like Vitality, after that chicken dinner that they got in game 3, and the momentum after those games, I feel like they're going to come in even harder today and prove the world why they're one of the best.
And obviously, we saw the Russians, you know, they had that great game, but they also had a terrible game, and we've been talking about, obviously, their rotation. So I think everybody knows what Avanga have got to do, but it's method they're on look at, because they started off so well. They had 3rd place, they had a 2nd place, and it all fell apart, a 15th and a 13th. And they, you know, they've tweeted out this morning, there's like some bad calls, you know, a couple of bad plays from individual members that basically upset them completely. Thinking of game 4 down at Milton Power, you know, when it finished down there, they went for that 2-2 split and then just randomly took a fight on in the middle of nowhere. So they're just some brain farts, effectively, sitting here from, what, probably 9 a.m. I think the guys arrive in the morning, and they've played 4, 5 scrims already today. So they're plenty of practice if they wanted it. Not every team took part in every single scrim. Ghost Gaming on your screen here. This is a team that's down, I believe, in 12th place, 14th place. They're quite light down.
12, yeah, 12.
Which was very, very similar to Oakland.
Yeah,
remember, they had a really bad first day. Second day, they were massively consistent. It got them into 3rd place.
Yeah, they were 14th place leading up to day 2 at Oakland, and they ended up 3rd place overall, just a few points behind day 2. So they are like a momentum. Like, they don't shy off if they have bad games, right? So we're going to definitely see them live up to their Oakland potential today. I spoke to some of them, and they're like feeling still confident in going into game 2. Day 2, sorry.
It's a big ask, and there's a lot of points to make up, but it is 400 points for a win, you know, 10 points per frag, and as we saw with the Vanguard, like, while a lot of their results, they did have a 5th place in the 5th game, but that single 1st place, that's put them into 980 points, 983 points overall. It really rockets you up there. Just one good round can really launch you. I mean, there's a 250-point differential between Optic and Vitality in 1st and 2nd. But that can just whittle away in seconds if you have a bad start.
Exactly, yeah. And pretty much every team right now in the top 12 per se, even if they just have 1 win, this game 5 is going to be super important. Because if you're in the lower bracket of the lower 5 teams, like 12th to 16th place, if you have a bad game now, it's going to be a tough task to come up at the end of the day. But if they have this 1 good game, they can still be a contender for 1st place for sure.
Well, they are all setting themselves up. You can see they're all in position. We're waiting for the server to set up. There's the points, in case you were unaware. The top 8, of course, it does go down to the Chinese team, LGD. They are the only Asian team that are in there. KSV certainly showed a decent performance. They had won a scrim, actually, earlier on as well when I was watching it. They're down themselves. Had a very good start, KSV, actually. Very, very good first game, and then just kind of fell away, didn't they? I think they got 2nd place in the first game.
Yeah, they got 2nd place in the 1st game, and then they followed that.
And then some really bad results. It was like 14th, 15th.
16th,
yeah, so way down there. Chaos, of course, there. Love it. Love the character of this man.
Papaya.
Papaya, he's been around for a while, and if you missed the video cut, he's a lively character, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Papaya, you know, he crawled his way effectively, the snake, a system that has worked so well for Chaos. They got themselves a 4th and a 3rd yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't been getting that many kills, but they've been getting, like, sneaking up some placements in there. And Chaos, I spoke to them. They're really nice guys, really good. Just privileged to be here. Like, they're just super happy to be representing South America and their home countries. So, like, they're just happy to be even in just, like, the top 10 situation as they are right now.
Well, on your screens, I believe that's KSV. It was a little close to figure it out. That's Ghost Gaming. That's Austin, isn't it? From Ghost. We talked about them already, but let's talk about Noble. They did mention it on the desk. Yes, they were consistent. Yes, they also got the circle look with them, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, game 1, they looted Novo. The plane started from Novo, and the circle did go on top of them. And then game 2, they dropped them Zaki, and the circle was north. And then game 3, they looted Novo again, and they got a military circle. I mean, it just, in a way, it's like the strategy that they're doing with the plane works out, because if you do drop first in the plane, you're the first one to loot. So if you do get the circle, you are going to be in a really good spot, because you can loot instantly and move wherever you want. So that's kind of paying off for them. I mean, a little bit of luck, but at the same time, their strategy is going for them.
Sexy pig on your screen just back there. What a player he is. He's looking very good for KSV. They were hitting on the desk talking about how the Korean scene, you know, can work about it. I was talking to you about it at the same time. Like, the Korean scene in FPS tends to be absolutely amazing at the strategy side of things, because they will practice.
Yep.
Thinking through all the FPS games, you know, Counter-Strike, they've never been in the top echelons, but in CS 1.6 they had good teams. Thinking of other FPS games like Sudden Attack, there's Crossfire, there's a million and one FPS games out there from days gone by that Korean teams have always been very good strategically. And that leads very well into PUBG.
Yeah, exactly, because PUBG, in my opinion, is more of a macro play than micro. Obviously, you still have the micro players. You see Avanja as a team that is just all about micro, but they just struggle with macro. But the Korean teams are known for strategy, right? So the macro play is super important in PUBG. And as we see, KSV, they haven't been performing that well, but they have really good individual players as well, which will help them out. We saw them obviously in scrims, and you saw they pulled off like a super clutch win. So
a 2v4 against TSM, in the scrims was certainly very impressive. And obviously, Andy Pyro setting himself up there alongside Method. They've had some very good performances. Let's go with the big boys. Let's talk about FaZe. They didn't have the best of days yesterday. They are down in 9th place right now. And well, in scrims this morning, they've been pushed every single time by LGD. Are we expecting this to continue when we actually go live in this game?
I think FaZe are going to be smart about it and may do a plan B. I mean, we saw them in Korea. They came 2nd place in the 3rd-person tournament, and they didn't go Milta Power. They ended up going to Stalber Kameshki because the Korean teams did not give up Milta Power. And Milta Power, you can't really contest it. It's one of the area where you lose or you win, and you don't want to fight that, right? If you're 9th place, you want to have a good, solid start in Game 5. So if I was FaZe, I would probably be going for that plan B if LGT are not going to back off.
Let's talk about tempo. I just saw him down there. There's Dre on your screens, your boy Dre. They had a miserable day yesterday. They're lying rock bottom, last place. Tempo Storm, it's not been their day at all. Can they turn something like that around when you have such a bad day?
It's really tough, in my opinion, like 16th place.
I mean, what are they on? They're on
307
307 points, so they're 900 plus points behind. Jeez.
Yeah, they need to go all out in this first game. They need an impressive start. Hopefully, they look West Coast. They're probably hoping for West Circle.
They did get a little pushed. Like Kingwin went over that way a little bit for game 1 and 2. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 5 is live. The bird is in the air, and we're crossing straight down. It's a pretty harsh plane, that's for sure. Lipovka down to Sosnovka. That's going to slice the map once again. It seems that myself and Skoom are not getting the best planes of the day, but it does open things up. You can see FaZe and Vitality going down, but I also see LGD heading to Milta Power alongside FaZe.
Yeah, but it seems they're going to be contesting each other, and FaZe are actually seeing that. Yeah, FaZe are seeing this, and they're actually rotating to going to Lipovka. They see Lipovka's free, so good call from FaZe here. They're going to most likely have Lipovka and just
Sun Sisters looks like they're going around there as well, so they may bump into Sun Sisters. There's Chaos. They tend to go over to Farm. You can see Milta as well for Vitality, so they should be fairly easy. It does look like Noble are going down this way. Into Novo, Ghost following. Yeah, interesting one. Rogue in standard, they're going Sosnovka. It's pretty standard for them. Method into Pachinki, they'll be happy because there's a lot of people who've been effectively doing team deathmatch on them throughout the scrims and dropping in Pachinki just to have a fight with them. Looking across now, Kinguin did make adjustments yesterday. They used to be a South Georgia Bowl team. They have been dropping into Rozhok, and it does look like it's going to be the same. But the problem is, because of the way the plane has worked, it does mean that likes of KSV, everyone that wants to go over to Georgia Bowl, which is a Vanguard, KSV, Optic, everyone's going to have to steal vehicles from that area. We're watching Noble dropping in, though, in crates. This is down in Novo. Now, Ghost Gaming were nearby, but they've kind of gone over towards Crossroads and Garage more than anything. So Noble going to have pretty much the freedom of Novo here.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, this specific plane path is going to be really tough for teams going now North George and South George. They're going to be competing for cars, and they're going to... But as we see, the first circle appears.
The first circle swings it completely over the West Coast. So absolutely everyone that's dropped, nobody is inside the first circle. Yeah. Just think how big that first circle is. Not a single person is inside it right now. So absolutely everyone, obviously making the loop paths. Everyone's going to head over to Georgia Bowl. You can see it right there. It has gone for a Gatka swing. Now, this is pretty good. I love this circle because it's 50% for water, but it means it's only 50% landmass, which means early rotations could be vital, but considering where the plane path has gone, those early rotations are going to mean low loot teams.
Yeah, exactly. But in that same time, you know, since the plane path cut on the east side, that this whole circle, there's not going to be anyone looting it. So you can actually go early and start looting it yourselves. You don't really need loot right now because you know that there's not going to be anyone around there.
Because like Tempo Storm, who are normally a West Coast loot team, they're actually down in Ferry Pier and stuff like that. They're doing the coastal team. Nobody's gone Primorsk. Optic actually made an adjustment, and a wise adjustment, because they're normally a North Georgia Pole team. They actually went up to Kameshki Stauber, so they're having a wise loot spree. It does mean TSM finally get their Yasnai loot, because they had to miss out on that a couple of times. Sun Sisters are the team that were starting to go Primorsk yesterday. They've gone, actually looks like they're heading up to Zaki to me, and via shooting range. KSV, the only team that have decided, you know what, we're going to get over to South Georgia Pole, and they're obviously going to be in loot heaven once they get there, because that's fairly central. Yeah,
I mean, KSV landed on Rozhok and actually stole those vehicles from Avanga, and Avanga are now looting on the east side of Rozhok, so they're not even going to go to Georgia Pole themselves right now. They're going to just be looting on that side. But this is, an early rotation from Sun Sisters. They're known to go to Primorsk, and now they seem to be going on the north side. I don't know if they're going to go Zaki or North George. I would imagine Zaki, because they don't know if Avanga maybe just snuck themselves in up there. But as you can see in the map right now, only 2 teams, three in the circle.
I think Miraku is disconnected for Kinguin. I can't see him. I can see the disconnect sign in there. I can see Vard Larsen and Gaxi, so I don't see Miraku. So unfortunately, it seems like they may be one man down. Hopefully, he'll be able to reconnect. Obviously, it's quite possible to do that. Here's KSV. Like I say, they have front 6, back 6, just about everything, really. You can see Sexy Pigs down in warehouses. Sims is the other side of warehouses. They got the loot, literally the freedom of Georgia Pole right now, and that's a lot of loot that they can take.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be super happy right now. They know they're the first ones there because they got the vehicles, and they're just going to loot the whole of Georgia Pole. And I'm curious to see if they're going to stay around there or they're going to rotate somewhat a little bit further away, knowing that that town is free. They can come back to it later. That's a specific strat people do when they loot towns. They don't need to stay there in the first circle. They can move a little bit out and then come back if it rotates there. We see Method rotating pretty early, though.
I mean, they've gone full spread, right? Sexy Pig's doing crates. You've got someone gone front 6, someone gone back 6. Sims is over in the other warehouses. They can just do everything they want. Sun Sisters are only just arriving in Zaki to start their loot. Meanwhile, you see Chaos, who obviously went farm. They're already rotating. So while Sun Sisters have just started looting, we've already got Chaos, Cloud9, Ghost. These teams are already rotating to the central circle. Method already leaving Pachinki as well. We talked about how they were leaving very early. Tempo Storm, of course, who were down in Ferry Pier, ordinarily a West Coast team. So Zampa, who's in the complex just on the edge of the swamp, may get caught out by some teams rotating into very early. Cloud9 heading his direction.
And all these teams know that Tempo Storm likes splitting up and looting as well. So if they do see one player and they want that compound, they could take it because it's going to be a 4v1. But Zampa here landing some shots at Moody. Moody down to, I believe, 10%.
They wanted to take that 2-wheeler, didn't they? That's what they were looking to try and take the car. So they'd slowed completely down. And Zampa's like, no. That is our scout bike. Keep your hands off it, but he's got to be careful. There's still Cloud9 going by. Chaos heading by. Method look like they're going to get in the compound first. They've gone for a split. KSV have already moved down as well. You can see, obviously, they were in hospital, but Turtle and Andy are going to come in, and it looks like Chaos, are they going to divert it? You can see Fiend. He looks like he's going to pass on by, so Chaos don't want to mess with it. But CLG, where the hell did I pull that one from? Cloud9. Cloud9. Oh. CLG, Cloud9, old rivals. But Papaya, the man that's been snaking it for Chaos. The man has been picked off, and it looks like he's going to be the first kill. He will go down, and Method collect themselves one. Can they get a second? As MPX taken very low there, just trying to get through the hills. Andy Pyro trying to line up the shots on him, just seeing if he can land anything through the trees. It doesn't look like it. He's going to get away.
Yeah, good shots by a Turtle there. Lasering with that AK, lands on Papaya and gets a first kill. So Papaya, first one down in this game number 5, as we see a lot of teams starting to rotate now. But I feel like a lot of teams are going to have issues as well because of the plane. There's not going to be that many cars on the east side, so...
So this is probably the earliest I've seen a Vanguard rotating. Because they didn't go North Georgia Pole, because they were over in Rozhok and obviously on that sporadic loot, effectively your old strategy almost, they were doing your loot run. It means they've rotated early. They're in the yellows at the moment, in the yellow stuff. And MPX, bless him, he's kind of stuck behind this rock. You can see everybody on the rotate. Rogue making their way across Sosnovka. Noble coming across as well. Just McCoy left on the Sosnovka Island. LGD, Vitality, FaZe all starting to leave. Actually, Vitality is still on the loot run, so they're going to play the edge circle game, I guess. TSM also just got into the vehicles. Optic up way up in north. They're starting to make the way down. Sunstisters, of course, who have literally arrived in Zaki, which actually surprises me that all 4 went to Zaki, because that's quite low loot city for 4 players.
Yeah, normally you can get geared out there with 2 players. Any more than that is a little bit not too much. But yeah, I mean, Avanga, this is a good change that they've done. Like, they're known to go late, and they struggled with that. If they didn't get the circle and they came in late to circle, they were struggling. So now they've adapted a little bit and going in early. So I'm curious to see if this is an adaptation they needed to do to improve their standings right now. And Optic, known for coming in late. TSM, Vitality, and FaZe, all the last ones coming into the circle right now. Well, Vitality is still looting, actually. I mean, they're getting into the vehicles right now as you see Shadow hopping on.
So Kinguin about to come in. You can see Noble. They've come all the way up from Nova. I wonder how looted they are, because they're a team that likes to loot fast and get into circles fast. But obviously, this time, the luck wasn't with them. And, you know, Cloud9 did joke that anywhere Noble drops, we're going to follow them because they got all the circles yesterday. So finally, we'll see, of course, whether they can get that top 5, top 6 positions that they were so frequently getting yesterday. Kinguin going to be passing by fairly close to a Vanguard, but they should be safe. There's a decent hill defilade there where they're passing by, so they shouldn't get shot at. They've got to be careful of Ghost, who are in and around Gatka, though, as a Vanguard will just loot these few compounds and collect what they can. Like I say, compound looting, very different to what they've been used to in North Georgia Pole, so they would have been coming in a lot more heavily looted, so it's a different strategy for them. Austin's probably going to take a couple of shots there. You see him taking them on Kinguin, but so far, so good. Everybody alive apart from Papaya, bless him, goes down early on. So it looks like the rotates are all going to be fairly clean from everyone. I mean, there is a lot of land mass. Obviously, there's a lot of water, but I'm happy to see not too many boats. I expected to see actually quite a few boats coming from Sosnovka.
Yeah, no one took really boats. I mean, ideally, you want to have vehicles, and if you do find vehicles, you're going to rotate out of that. And I think that almost every team had vehicles, so they're going to just change it for boats. You don't really want to do that in case it shrinks to the far east. You want to have cover. So obviously every team seems to have been having cars and just using it. As we see Sunsisters actually coming from the northeast side, straight from Zakin, and getting into a fight with TSM, I believe.
Yeah, Sunsisters, TSM running straight into them. That's up north. Vis is going to pop out. This is all in the hills of Georgia Pole, so kind of on the rotate in more than anything. So Sunstisters, who were rotating out of Zaki, TSM were taking the northern route out of Yaznai. You can see them just in the hills playing the edge game, which is TSM's old strategy. They're obviously coming in late, so they're realizing they need to sit in the meta, and it's important to do that, right? It's to lead this. We were talking about, I had an interview yesterday, and I was talking about Avanga, you know, their meta rotations. You guys have been mentioning it, and Vis is going to finish that kill off, but you've got to think of the situation you're in, right? Like, so for example, Optic are coming in really late. They were the last ones coming in the circle. Vitality's going to be in there. So they know that the majority of compounds in and around the central area are taken. So they just have to play the end game. You have to play it. Whereas if you look at a Vanguard yesterday, they came in pretty much last, but still tried to blast into the center. Yeah. And that's just not going to work. I mean, that's the aggressive style, right? That tends to work out for them.
Exactly. And but I feel like the thing that TSM is doing recently is adapting. They used to be just only edge, and only edge just gets you so far. Sometimes you need to do this central and like position. We see Rogue actually getting Kinguin off guard. Yeah, they killed 2 of Kinguin rotating on the west coast, and this is something different for Kinguin. Kinguin are known to loot South George. Whenever West Circle appears, they know how to play it. But now that they're looting outside they're looting around the
they're
Rozhok
rotating
area,
completely different.
they're rotating late, and they're not used to that. They're not used to compounds being taken already in the west circle, so they struggle a little bit there, getting into the mid, and they're down to 2. And we see Jazza landing beautiful shots.
Did he just hit the? He did. He hit one like a ridge. You saw the vehicle bounce and spin around. Rogue. That's 3 kills they've got so far. They might get a 4th here. As LGD are getting picked apart. There's no wheels on that wagon. He's going to be forced into the water, and Rogue are a team that absolutely need a performance today. They are, I think, down in 13th place.
15th place.
15th place. They had a horrific performance yesterday, and it's really no one's fault but their own. They were on Sosnovka. Not a single person challenged them yesterday. They just had a bad day.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to them today, actually, and I told them what was going wrong, what are you going to adapt for today? And the issue is that they were splitting too much, they said. They were just splitting us too even to late game, and they just got caught off guard so many times by a full-man team. So today, they're going to focus on being as 4. They already started with 3 kills.
Decent circle swing. Okay, so a circle update just coming in. It's a decent swing, and it has gone the majority of land. I would say the vast majority of teams already in there, so you probably won't see too many rotations other than a couple of teams trying to maybe centralize a little position. I can see Method. They're going to go for that radar tower position, like the deep crevice that's in there on the hillside. TSM and Optic are both going to have to move out of Georgia Poe. You can see Method. Layton's trying to get there. Looks like Cloud9 want to fight for it as well, because it is a very good overlooked position here that Layton's trying to get himself into. The rest of Method are going to come behind. You can see they're waiting to get in the vehicles. They're going to hop in, so 80 and Andy are going to make their way over towards that radar tower. It looks like they should secure it, which now leaves Cloud9 in an interesting position because they rotated, and I think they're going to have to be roadside. It looks like because there's a decent ditch down there in the yellow houses, which I believe yellow houses are taken by a Vanguard.
A Vanguard have the yellow houses,
I think I can just about catch a glimpse. I think the Vanguard have gone for a 2-2 split. And it looks like that's how it's going to play out. So Tempo Storm, you can see also in there. If the minimap could be zoomed in perfectly, there we go, exactly. Yeah, so they've just gone for this little ditch. A single member of a Vanguard is actually keeping them out of those yellow houses.
This is actually a spot of the team from EU Knights. They're dominating in the online scene right now. They love playing this spot. They go there even earlier than that. They go at the very beginning. This is their prime spot. It's a really good spot because you get all the rotators going around, so you get a lot of kills. So C9 taking this spot right now could be crucial, bang in the middle.
Andrani's still to line the shots up, but it is a decent amount of cover. You can see Forex is using the vehicle just to block his position. He did just get tagged up, though. Solid FPS getting hit. I think that's actually coming from Tempo Storm, maybe. Zampa has a relative angle on him from there, but you can see, yeah, they're going to tuck behind the rocks. He was getting hit from behind, so a lot of shots will be traded between. Optic finally coming in, actually. They're going to come into a fairly late circle. LGD are in all sorts of trouble. They're trying to make their way down the West Coast Road, and they're getting lit up by just about every team they pass by. It looks like they may run straight into Chaos, judging by the way that vehicle is heading in towards Fiend, so expect to see Chaos maybe coming into the kill feed in a second. Yeah, where's he going to go? Because there's the compound here, right, just north of him, which looks like where Meng's going to head towards. Okay, and he's going to get in there safely. It's basically the one that Method just gave up. So the LGD have moved into Method's old house.
Yeah, exactly. They've been scouting it and then just drove in as you saw Method leave. So the thing that Method did there was they've been scouting. This is something that every team needs to do. When you're in this position, you need to keep getting info from further away. Like Method were looking at that hill for quite a while. They were scouting it. As soon as the circle appeared, they just bombed it instantly because it's the shortest rotation for them. And you see a lot of teams do that. And then you see the follow-up teams just take the previous compound, like we saw just LGD do right now. You see Vitality, as they do, they love playing hills. They're right now playing the hill by the satellite. They don't really favor compounds too much. They rather just spread out on hills and get as much info as possible.
It's actually a very strong position because if the circle swings this way, they have a lot of ground that really everybody has to push in towards them, so they can see that overlooked position. And speaking of the Knights, I'm pretty sure I remember casting a game from that exact same spot where they got a crazy number of kills. It may have been Vexed, but it's not Vexed or Knights. Got a massive win there, and you can see they got the Car 98s. They've, of course, looted through Miltus. They were down there for a long time. We even see a tier 3 vest on Shiv as well, so he's very heavily geared out, these guys. It's something they've been used to. Oh, and that Car 98 onto Method may well connect. Method realizing this is not safe territory. They're trying to peek over the hill towards Cloud9 there, and they're going to have to keep their heads down a little.
Yeah, that's one of the tough spots where Method is playing right now. They're bang in the middle, but that specific like hill dip, you have to kind of be a bit safe, because if you have a team where Vitality is right now, they're going to get easy pokes at you. So Method are going to have to play a little bit more safe than they used to. So we see the circle starts to shrink in right now. Everyone pretty much kind of in the center. So this is going to be, the next circle is going to be the toughest one in this game right now, because the next rotation is going to be just a chaotic situation that's going to happen. Unless it goes bang in the middle. If it goes bang in the middle, you're not going to see too much. But if it hits a hard shrink to any of the sides, especially the north, you're going to see a lot of teams struggling, as you see here right now. Look how many compounds in the middle are taken, pretty much nearly all of them. Right. Southeast is clear, northwest is...
Where's it going to swing? Where's it going to swing? It goes over towards Gatka. Okay, this opens up Chopsticks. Now, these two compounds just to the north of Chopsticks are wide open. Sun Sisters may actually blast it straight to them. You can see TSM going for it. Looks like TSM want to get in there as soon as possible. Vitality, we see here on the hill. They have to move, so there's, I would say, a good half of the teams that are all on the west side have to move, which is going to make people like Cloud9, who are in that position, having a very good position. Sun Sisters get there first. You see TSM already in there. This is basically one of the best compounds in the circle right now that everybody's going to fight for. And it looks like TSM, they want to fight for this. You can see them setting up.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of the houses that you can stop at the ridge that this is, and TSM has stopped right now, and like you can actually take a fight off because you have this sick ridge in the north side. See a lot of teams.
Got to be careful of Noble behind them though. You can see Noble up in the hills, just behind them where they're set up. So Sun Sisters obviously trying to peek on it. TSM are keeping their eye. They don't want to go too aggressive. Now, everybody's going to move. Vitality are making their way across towards Chopsticks. They're going to get across. Tempo Storm, Rogue, Kinguin, LGD, Chaos, Optic. Everybody has to move across, and they're all going to pass on by Method, which is an interesting spot for them.
Smokes are being thrown actually by TSM there, and I don't know if they know that Sun Sisters is down only to 2 players in this compound, and TSM have been throwing smokes. They're going to push the compound. They could be taking a fight versus Sun Sisters right now.
Cloud9 are going to have LGD passing straight on by them, like you say. TSM may be going to breach. We're going to keep our eye on that one. You can see it on the minimap. LGD realize they back away. They go straight into 17 from Optic. So LGD actually gone to the radar tower, which I don't think is in the circle.
No,
I think they're looking at maybe collecting a couple of rotating kills here, which obviously makes it interesting. Chaos, by the way, they're going to go all the way around the north of Everest, I think, here, which is a very long rotate, but it's actually a wise choice. It's probably the safest path.
Indeed. We see Method just taking shots at Optic. Optic in a really tough spot right now. Bahawaka had to jump off his vehicle because he was a little bit low. And now Leighton controlling this area. You see the rotations also Kinguin and coming in, and KSV just at the very top of the hill.
Where are you going to go? Kinguin. You either go south, you're in Method. You can see setting up the nade, or you go north, and Esther picks you up, and Kinguin will be the first team to go down. They will take 16th position. It has not been a good tournament for them. They are in desperate position now. Talking about rotations, as I mentioned, Chaos, they went all the way around Everest through Georgia Pole, the top of Georgia Pole, and they've come in. They're going to get themselves a clean entry. Rogue are doing a similar job. They've come all the way down the south, all the way around the edge of there. So you can see Chaos, who were way over on the west coast, they've come all the way up and around the top of Everest here and moved in towards this edge. Rogue doing the same. Yannick's going to actually get very close to Vitality. But the rest of Rogue could go north of Chopsticks, and there's just wide open complexes there that are very good spots. Sun Sisters, well, TSM have moved in now into the buildings just above them. They were on the ridgeline just to the north of them. Like you say, they don't realize that there's only 2 members of Sun Sisters alive now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they know. I would imagine if they knew there was 2 players that could push it. And we see Araxe killing Yuan on
they've gone into Chopsticks. Yeah. Rogue have gone into Chopsticks, which is very unusual because Vitality were there already. There's a lot of action happening that way. You can see Monkey here. These guys have got the compound to the south side, just by outside Chopsticks. You can see the kill there coming in from Araxes. Will clear it, and Rogue lose their first man. Vitality, as I say, second place in the tournament, have a very good chance at pushing onto Optic, who we've got to keep our eyes on because they are still struggling to rotate within the circle. It's Vitality in a very good position right now to try and collect some kills on Rogue, who've in that Chopsticks, it's a dangerous position, right? While you have decent amount of cover, you're down low, but if someone gets a clear angle in the complex to the north or south of you, you can just see straight down it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be in there when you get surrounded by the compounds. But I think Fuffins might notice, but well, they just got the circle, so they might not have to push north side. So now Ghost Gaming bang in the middle with Gatka.
And Vitality as well. Vitality phase, everybody's got this circle of Vanguard and TSM just on the edge of it, so everybody's going to move in towards them. Optic, of course, the #1 team at the moment. They have a really tough position. They've got LGD in the hillside. They've got Cloud9 behind them as well, so they've not really got anywhere to go because they've got to pass over this open road. They've got the UAZs. Now, if they're going to rotate, they're going to have to take a wide swing south because they've got to pass on phase, and then they start running into Vitality and Rogue.
The good thing that we just mentioned, they have UAZs, and then this circle is a lot of open field, so they're going to have to create this little cover with their UAZs. That's the plus for them right now.
Tempo Storm are tanking it out in the blue.
Yeah, Tempo Storm are 2 players outside the blue right now, and I think the last 2 players in the game one. We see Meluke actually in the circle as well, just below Avanga. So we saw a rotation. Diana didn't catch who that was, but we see Meluke.
Gets Turtle, and he's in trouble as well. They're passing on by, so Tempo Storm managed to light them up. They were trying to go a little wide, but Method trying to find a position in towards Gatka. Looks like Andy Pyro has had to ditch it. Layton gets knocked as well. He has to bail out early. Profi will pick up 8C, and Method just gets smashed on the rotations there. Grenades coming out from McCoy. Profi's got to dodge that one. They're going to go both to the right-hand side. It's going to force TSM to dodge to the left, and Profi was ready for someone to push out left. It doesn't work out for them, and Gatka is getting very busy.
Yeah, Gatka's getting busy, and Andy is left alone from Method right now at the rocks just west of Gatka. Don't think they've spotted him just yet from this, because they're busy fighting TSM is GG. Throwing a lot of smokes.
One good nade in there. You know, it's very dangerous for TSM to get in all in one building, because a couple of nades could just bounce you all over the place.
Exactly.
All the rotations, KSV, LGD, it's an absolute firing squad as they move on through. Cloud9, Vanguard, everybody's lighting them up, and everybody's coming into Gatka right now. This is the position, KSV and LGD, Method all crammed in there. The kill feed's just gone wild because Zampa has just picked himself a hat full of kills for Tempo Storm. Optic also trying to make the way across. There has been an absolute killing fields to the left-hand side of the screen right now. And we knew the rotations were going to have to come in, and we knew it was going to get pretty hectic. Optic are also in trouble there. Chaos getting themselves picked off. Buffet's getting himself a couple of kills there. And TSM and Ghost here in Gatka.
The Optic right now, they're going to get the res, and I believe one of them is in the circle, but they're fighting against KSV just right to the north. If they just wipe KSV, because I think C9 pushed across
LGD went out in that blaze of fire. Yep. Sexy Pig's the only one standing for KSV right now. Kingwin obviously went out in 15th place, LGD in 14th. So there's a couple of teams now down to 2 or 1 players in this really tricky position. And now Optic, they're just about belly crawling their way into the circle. Sexy Pig, by the way, is just on the hillside there, and he's actually got a decent angle on them. Tempo Storm as well, having to make the way a little bit further north. We're seeing Ghost Gaming here still inside Gatka. I don't really think they're going to find a shot. I don't think TSM are going to peek for this at all. So it's really about Optic and Sexy Pig at the moment, who are kind of staring one and each other out.
Yeah, exactly. And now the circle's going to start shrinking in, and this next rotation is going to be the decider of who will get it, pretty much. Optics Gaming, yeah, they lost their UAZs in that rotation as well. They just blew up going to that ridge, so they're not going to have vehicles if they have to rotate out. It's going to be a tough task for them to win at the first place team right now.
Where's this circle going to go? This is going to make or break some teams, because this next rotation will be pivotal. If it goes south, which it goes north, so everybody down in Vitality, Rogue, all going to have to move. Sun Sister's going to have to move in, whereas TSM and Ghost, who made the push into Gatka, find themselves in a very good position. Andy Pyro actually in that circle as well. Sexy Pig himself, you can see the one man standing for KSV here as another team goes down. I didn't quite catch who that was. We just lost the third one. I think it may have been Fiend from KLG that just died. Either way.
Yeah, KLG are no longer, so they're eliminated as well. And this circle, yeah, this is going to be an open field, and only Gatka having the compound right now. So TSM, with that rotation, the previous circle was really crucial to take the
FaZe on the move. FaZe are on the move. They're rotating. They're going to go straight past Cloud9, straight over Andy Pyro, and they're getting very close to him. Andy Pyro pops up and gets Mexi down. Yempty near him as well. We're watching Zampa here on the edge. You can see it's happening just over to the left of where he is. We were seeing it on the map at the moment as Andy Pyro has Yempty staring straight at him there.
And I believe they know, FaZe know that Andy is the last one alive right now, and he's getting shot from different teams. I believe Optic or C9 are taking shots at Andy right now.
The rest of FaZe have moved just the other side. You can see them through the rock there. They've joined him, and like you say, a 14th place would be horrible for Method, who had a very good start to yesterday, but struggled towards the end of it. Confidence is king here for this first map of the day. FaZe, I think they're preferring to stick outside there. Sexy Pig, 17 sees him. He's going to tank the meds, but he's going to have a shot on towards Sexy Pig in a second as he tries to look around the side there. But look, Cloud9, Moody gets a couple of knocks there, and everybody is just dying the other side. That's going to be Optic going down in 12th place, and that's exactly what Vitality are going to be looking towards, and everybody else looking at 2nd, 3rd, 4th position. FaZe are going to be happy because now they have Cloud9 that need to push in towards them, so they're going to keep an eye on them as we keep looking at Ghost, who are going to see absolutely nothing in Gatka because they're looking at TSM for the rest of the game. Here's going to be FaZe trying to line up the nade, looking towards Frexus. That may well land on him. It's going to bounce him to the side. It will. You can see solid FPS going to have to peek around the side. Yempty going to push out there. FuzzFace gets another nade in, and Cloud9 will go down in 11th place.
That's all the teams on the west side, except for Sexy Pig just eliminated. C9 and Optics killed each other, came in late, and now FaZe just cleaning up on the western side. But Sexy Pig is
still tanking it. He's still tanking it. Yeah, he's got himself into top 10 at least. And he's on the move. He's on the move. Andy Pyro also kept alive as well. Sexy Pig going to come in. FaZe are just going to light him up, and he will go down. That's KSV going out in 10th position. Andy Pyro keeping his team alive, and that's just how it works, right? You got to, if you can snake your way in towards the top 5, it could work out very well for you. At the moment, though, FaZe are well aware that he's still there, so he's got to be careful they don't try and push up on him. He's just basically tucked him behind that rock. A Vanguard, by the way, been quiet so far. 4 players still alive on the edge of the circle.
Yeah, and the north side has been a little bit quiet. It's just been the main action has been just from the west, and the Vanguard has just been watching this, killing a few rotators as well. And the next circle, kind of a bit central, Gatka still in. So the Ghost Game and TSM are going to be extremely happy. Andy and FaZe, they both going to have to move right now.
Vitality are in a really sticky position. They're on the rotate now, and they're blasting it for Gatka. They're blasting straight into Gatka. Vitality are going to try and get in. They're going to go for the 3-story compound that's in there, or 2-story, I guess, with a roof. And Vitality have got in. Shadow, so they've got 2 in and 2 out at the moment with Vitality, so they've managed to get himself in there. Fuzzface gets knocked by Andy Pyro as they try and peek on his rock. He's keeping hold. As a man from Gibraltar, you should be proud of him. He's keeping hold of that rock.
Yeah, he's holding the rock, Andy. Not letting that go, but now he has a really tough task. I mean, it's 3 guys from FaZe, and he's going to rotate out, and this is going to be really tough for him. He's going to start snaking out.
He's going to a Vanga.
Yeah, but a Vanga is probably going to catch him off guard right now here.
An aid inside Gatka takes Monkey, gets knocked. That's going to be TSM working on that, and Monkey will go down in the end. Vanguard gets a little vision, gets a perfect vision actually, gets a straight old look on towards break there, doesn't manage to get the knock note, only using the M4 of course. They know that Andy Pyro has just moved up close to him, which is why they're trying to nade it down. They're going to jump into Dacia, yeah, away they go. So they're going to make the way in towards Gatka as well, or maybe set up a little compound of their own. You can see there's just a couple of rocks down here. It's going to be perfect for them. Andy Pyro, you see, just set there. I don't know whether Drainage just saw him as he skipped in towards the air to find Legit. Will find Shiv as well. So that's Vitality that had moved in. The 2 members of Vitality that had gone into Gatka are now down. So only Shadow and Aroxade's alive for them. Of course, second place team who are chasing on Optic at the moment. Optic went down in 12th, I believe. They need to try and get a much better finish where they are right now, and they've got an open field to pass.
Yeah, 9 teams are remaining right now, so every team wants to get this snaking in this field because it's not too much cover. Andy's still outside the zone, as we see Noble landing a lot of shots on a Vanguard right now here with a really good angle. Just gonna prone his return fire with a Vanguard. Drain is seen Natural there underneath. It gets a knockdown onto Natural. Drainius with really good shots with that 15 times, actually.
Shadow goes down. Aroxade's the last man standing for Vitality. He's still outside the farm, and it's such a horrific pass he's going to make because it's an open field. You can see Jazza snaking it in as well. Noble are inside the white. Jazza and Aroxade is the only 2 that are outside now. Andy Pyro also got to shift himself forward still, and that's going to be dangerous territory because he's going to creep in towards a Vanguard. But if a Vanguard are caught in a fight with Noble here, they may not notice him creeping up behind them.
Yeah, Andy might actually get in there. That field and prone behind.
Aroxade's down. Vitality go out in 8th place, which is, whoa, I'm trying to think of the points difference. It's not great.
Jazza also doing the snake game on the south and eastern side, sorry. He's trying to snake in. I don't know if he's going to be spotted. Vanguard landing more shots onto Noble, just back and forth right now.
Andy Pyro snuck in the circle, so Method now into top 7 as Noble get 2 more knocks. Rogue will go down. They finish in 7th place as finally Jazza gets picked off, and a Vanguard take Noble down. Noble go down in 6th place. Consistency keeping up there, by the way. Now, look at Andy Pyro. He has perfect vision on a Vanguard, sees them all there, but certainly does not want to fire. Drain is looking his direction and just basically holding his nerve. He's actually crept Method into the top 5. Very impressive. The circle swings, and my word, nobody inside it. It's gone to the open fields of Gatka.
The only thing is, if Andy has a nade here, they're all grouped up. 1 nade, Andy could wipe a Vanguard, but I'm not too sure if he does have that nade. We'll see now in a few seconds if he's going to pull it off. I know he's looking at them, but Keen, looking at that headshot,
Who's going to mobilize first? Because FaZe, TSM, and Ghost
Andy
will
going
never
ham.
make the way out. Andy does take the shots. He gets one single knock. Looking towards the vehicle. Gets the vehicle knock. Keen will go down. Switches across. Gets the ×2. Gets a right big knock with the AK. Straight into the head of Onu there. Can he get some more? As Drennis picks, I think some nades were being tossed out there. You can see them lining up. That nade's going to make Andy move. It's going to run towards him. It only bounces him ever so slightly. They don't really have a clean angle, and every time they peek, Andy's managed to take the shot. He's got to get up now. The zone's on, and he will go down. So that's Method down as FaZe obviously knew that Andy was there the entire time. FaZe peeks out. 6 kills for them and counted as the Vanguard get picked apart. They're down to 1, I believe, as FaZe tries to push up on them. FaZe trying to take the shots. They see the last member of the Vanguard, and they will go down in 4th place as FaZe pick them apart. Now, Austin has made the move from Ghost Gaming. He's the only man inside the circle. TSM, Ghost, and FaZe all have to make their way across. TSM lighting up FaZe as they try and make the move across. Haxeti gets knocked by the play zone, so Yempty and FaZe both go into snake mode as TSM now need to worry about Ghost up behind them as they have to try and make the way out of there. Breakmane's fine, Yempty. Now we're looking at Ghost. TSM is just going to really come out, but they're a 4-man squad still. They find themselves the vehicle, looking towards the white, and they're going to shoot straight through. AMPR taking down to nothing. Smack gets knocked. Quixter jumps around, and Ghost are just lighting TSM up there. They're going to get themselves 1-2. They find break. TSM get destroyed, and Ghost Gaming take the chicken dinner as FaZe will go down in 2nd place. We talked about the revival of Ghost Gaming, how they came back in Oakland on day 2, and my God, they've taken the first win of the day.
Yeah, exactly like we said. I mean, in Oakland, they were struggling with day 1, and day 2, they just brought in ham. And this is a start that Ghost won it. 12-kill win, just perfectly played that. Misplay by TSM, all of them jumping on the vehicles at the same time and just abandoning when Ghost Gaming were just behind them. And FaZe actually ended up coming 2nd out of all of that.
Snaked it in
by FaZe. I believe he was healing outside the zone when the Gemty died. So FaZe with 7 kills, 2nd place, and TSM with a 6-kill 3rd place. So this is a game that both FaZe, Ghost Gaming, and TSM wanted to start with in Game 5.
Vanguard 4th,
yeah, exactly.
Vanguard 4th, and they were obviously at 983 points at the start, so that's going to be massive for them. They got themselves 7 kills as well. TSM, of course, in 3rd place with the 5 kills, and Method keeping consistency. That's what they need to do throughout today. They do end up with the 3 kills and 5th place.
And every team is loving this because Optic is 12th place. The leading team had a bad game. So all these teams that are, you know, the Vanguards, the Methods, the FaZe.
Even Vitality to an extent. They were, what, 8th place in the end. So big difference, but Ghost Gaming, what a story for them, and FaZe stepping it up. Guys, let's go over to the desk to break down that epic finish.
Taking that car out.
What an end to that game. Game number 5 in the bag. Ghost Gaming able to clutch it at the very end. McCoy, I think there was a reason he probably gave me this on the first day when we were here for media, as that was unbelievable from him at the very end. There was a stalemate going on for so long in the middle between Ghost Gaming and TSM, and it seems like Ghost Gaming able to prevail. I'm joined here at the desk once again, of course, by Toffees and Avenger, and we were thinking to ourselves, TSM's got a very, very good position here, but that stalemate in the end seemed to prove pivotal as to what could come.
It was a stalemate and great positioning on TSM's side, but I mean, really, it came down to McCoy, proving that he was the real McCoy, right? He jumped out of that car and he went to Spraytown and took everybody out. It was beautiful to watch. Just like, it was one of those execution moments that is highlight reel material.
Yeah, very impressive.
So what they did was they took one guy, while the other guys were fighting on the west-north side, they took one guy, sending him out into the zone to secure that. So they really put a position and strongholded that side of the circle. Yep. So he could stand there, still spray on them, and McCoy, he snaked and just waited in the bushes for TSM to push out because they had no idea he was there.
Yeah, very impressive. So there's a lot to talk about and break down from that game. Let's start from the very beginning, of course. And something that really stood out to me from the beginning was Optics Gaming's choices. We talked about how they were coming in from day number 1 to day number 2. Admittedly, you know, it's very difficult for them to go to their usual drop spot because of where the plane went, but they were playing it a bit more slow, it felt like, Avenger, to be able to try and kind of, I suppose, solidify the position that they put in day number 1.
So they did the stealth Kameskis split I talked about that FaZe did at OGN.
Yeah.
They probably didn't see anybody drop, so I guess they jumped out. But they did this exact same play we've seen FaZe done before. The slow play coming in from the north, waiting for the second and the third circles, and then pushing in. but unfortunately, they didn't do super good.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, I talked to them earlier, and that's what they said. They said, we had such a good first day.
Yes.
We're going into game one. We're not changing anything drastically. We're going to play carefully, make sure we get to the top 10, and then kind of go from there, see where everybody else falls out. So very smart play for them. And the reason that's smart is because stuff like Ghost Gaming was almost the bottom of the bracket starting this.
Right, yeah.
So if you see teams who have been at the bottom are getting these chicken dinners, Octa can keep kind of playing casually and carefully.
Well, we can keep talking about it in just a few moments' time here, but I really want to hear from Ghost Gaming, who's with Boogie after that game number 5 win.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome straight back into the stage where only the top dogs get a chance to speak. And this time around, it's going to be your boys from Ghost Gaming. Define, my man. Congratulations.
My man.
Welcome straight back into it. It's good to see you back into the second day here. We haven't seen too much of you guys yesterday. You don't necessarily have the worst placement in the world, but then again, you needed this boost. How good does it feel to win the first chicken dinner of the second day?
Feels right. It feels good, but it feels right, man. We're exactly where we want to be. I mean, we do this. We come back. That's what we do. I don't know why it's that way, but I mean, Oakland was 14th to 3rd. We want this 12th to 1st. So, I mean, you're going to see us out there. That was just a really, really, really big first game for us, man. That's exactly what we needed. Now the momentum's going, and we just got to finish it out.
There you go. It's just like you said it. You pretty much done the same, repeated the same kind of stuff in Oakland there. Yeah. First day a bit shy, second day coming up strong. Now this time around though, you got a bit of a change in your strat. You got a bit of a change in your plays. I know you got a new IGL, somebody new calling the shots. How is that working out for you?
Yeah, no. So we've completely solidified our IGL now. Profi's our IGL. He's amazing. We were kind of getting off of the same page because it was me calling and him calling. And yesterday we just kind of talked back and forth, and it was like there's a disconnect, and we all need to be dedicated to one thing. So we decided to, give the reins back to him fully and support him. And I mean, it shows. Walking into day 2, taking the first one with him calling, I mean, it just feels right. It feels right.
Yes, it does indeed. It feels right to your fans as well. In case you would like to thank somebody, we're not going to be finishing now, but do you like to thank someone in particular?
Definitely. I want to thank Delinda first, because very supportive girlfriend. Couldn't be here without her. I want to thank the org. Secondly, and mostly, Ghost Gaming is just a ridiculously amazing org, man. The support that they give us, I mean, living in Hollywood Hills, living in a $14 million mansion, it's honestly nuts. So, of course, Ghost Gaming, thank you so much. And then shout out to our CEO, Matt, the best CEO in the business. We love him so much, man.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a great closer, actually. So you can live the rockstar pretty much life if you're into PUBG, as Define Legit shows us here today. It's a fantastic comeback from the NA boys, and they're rocking it hard. Stick around to find out if they're going to keep on going strong. Kalaris, back to you.
That's right, that's the question. Will history repeat itself here for Ghost Gaming? Day number 1, not the greatest of starts, but day number 2 coming in strong. A very strong statement from them in game number 5. Here at the analysis desk once again, and we've got a lot to talk about continuing things on. I want to go back to the point that we were making just before that, as we can talk about Ghost Gaming a little bit more in a second. Optic got 12th. And that is a big boon to all those other teams out there, as they did so well in day number 1. Now it's, once again, even more so all to play for.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be something to consider as Optic goes forward here. They have to sort of re-examine what they chose to do.
Yep.
They said, we're not changing anything in game 1. Maybe it's time to change something in game 2, because clearly those changes have worked for other teams. So I do like changes that we saw. Like TSM, for instance, we saw them push a little while ago into a compound that I'm not used to seeing them leave a secured location in the white to get to a better location. Normally they sort of wait it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of these teams have been doing things that I'm not used to seeing, and I think that's really cool.
I mean, they pushed out and opened up a compound for Noble, and Noble did super good as well. They didn't do as good as TSM did, so it's nice to see that these changes on the strats actually improve their placements, because if they stayed at Noble, they would probably have done the same as Noble, edge it in, but because they pushed Gatka and they got this corner position, they got a better placement because of that. So I like to see the strat change from them.
Of course, Ghost Gaming coming into day number 2 was 12th place, but now they're going to be rising up the ranks a little bit more. What else can you say about how they were able to approach this game, guys? Because, I mean, aside from those final moments, look at his luscious hair.
Luscious looks.
Oh, it's all normally tied up. But
That is
there you go,
rockstar
final
hair.
legit.
Well, so here's the thing about Ghost, and I appreciated the honesty that he had in his interview. He came straight forward. He said, yeah, we had to solidify our shot calling situation. They did it in Oakland. They had a bad first day. They came back and had a wonderful second day. They're going to do it again. I've told them before, these guys are always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They're always second and third and fourth place. I want to see them start to get these wins, and maybe that discussion, which had to be hard to have, right? Sitting down over dinner and saying, listen,
Of course.
you have to be the shot caller, and giving up the reins might be exactly what they need to take them to the next level.
I think so too. Profi's a stand-up guy. He's calm when he needs to be, and I think he plays without emotion.
Yeah. I mean, having to eat a bit of that humble pie and try and kind of bring things in, rein it in, indeed. So overall, if you look at how that kind of game shaped up, who else stood out to you here in game number 5?
I'll tell you who stood out to me in game number 5, Andy Pyro, okay? Because we were talking about that. Vanguard was in a great position behind that rock. They potentially could have held the entire north of the circle. Andy put in some serious work, waited for the perfect moment to get that headshot, and then followed with the car explosion. I mean, that was insanely strong, and he was just laying out in the open.
Yeah, very good stuff.
He heard of Vanguard's game so much already. There were 4 guys alive. They had an okay position moving in. They could move into open, but FaZe still locked down them. They waited for them at the rocks as well. So when they moved, they also killed them. TSM did the same. So basically, TSM, FaZe, they were just waiting for it, and he just hurt them even more.
There was a lot of patience on TSM's side as well, if you think about it. With them rotating down, they knew where Sun Sister was, coming into, say, like, I think 3rd or 4th-ish circles. But then the patience to say, we don't really need to take this fight. We're going to look to try and find a compound a little further down, maybe favoring the circles, etc. So good moves from them.
I really liked it. And, you know, we talked to TSM, and they said, we're going to try something a little bit different. You saw the interview with Vis yesterday, and he said, we're changing up our strategies. And it was really clean. It was smart play. It got them what they needed. I think they were in 7th coming into today. So finishing in a top 3-4 position is very important, especially in game 1. And I thought they executed really well, not just individually, but as teams with their movement. And a lot of times I'm used to seeing sort of like Marius or NPR sort of out to the side, making shot calls while the other guys are fighting on their own. This felt a lot more together, is I guess the best way for me to say it.
Yeah, definitely. I think for game 5, though, for me, undoubtedly, a gentleman who was one of the first pro gamers here to talk to me, McCoy. I think that him at the very end there, able to really highlight such great crisis management at the very end there, Avenger.
He took 2 down easily. Another guy pushed him. He jumped out of the car. I think he got 2 or 3 knocks right there and secured them that game. But I still think that movement from Ghost, when they heard all the other fighting, they saw 3 different teams knocking a Vanguard players.
Yes.
And they put a guy out on the field, locking this like position down so they have multiple angles. And that's what got TSM in the trap in the beginning. Because they moved out, they thought everything was safe. Because they heard the car, they maybe thought there was 1 or 2 guys out there. But they had 2 guys still waiting for them for this angle position.
Let's also not forget, they played spoiler on Vitality, too. This is a team who's set to win this whole thing. These are great players. They have a chicken dinner in pocket, and they got locked out. They stationed themselves perfectly to cover that entire southern approach and stopped Vitality completely. So not only were they planning for that late game, they set themselves up to move up the bracket by taking out heavy threats.
Yeah, that's completely correct. The only way Vitality were going to get in is if somebody pushed Ghost Gaming. It was not going to happen in that situation, and that is that. Let's check in with the schedule to see how many more games we have left. We have 3 more to go. Game number 5 was a belter here for game 1 of day 2. That was a lot of numbers, but I got there in the end. We're going to be moving on to game 6 in a second, and overall, still very much all to play for. We don't have an updated standings 100% just yet, but one thing is for sure is that we're going to have a little bit of shake-up going on. You know, as much as Optic Gaming, I think, had maybe a 250-point lead up there, that's going to be narrowed down now a little bit. And it's going to be all to play for in these next couple of games.
That's why we love PUBG. It's the only game where everyone gets a chance every single time. Anyone can make a highlight reel anytime they drop out of that plane. And the shifting of the leaderboard goes to the very end. So absolutely love it. Love what we're seeing so far.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen, as now it is time to go to a short break here at the Intel Extreme Masters. And when we return, game number 6 of the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Invitational.